Today in class we are drawing another system using the substitution method. Let's write down this system. 2 times x plus y. So minus x plus 6 equals 0. And the second equation, 3x minus in parentheses x minus y equals 0. Please note that we are using the substitution method. Not because you need to use only this method, but because we need to learn how to use it. Although we will have a system that can be solved in other ways, we're going to solve it by substitution. To begin with, we need to get this equation into standard form. What do we do to do that? We need to open the brackets, add similar summons, and get the equation. In order to open the brackets, we use the distributive property. The result is 2x's plus 2y's minus x plus 6 equals 0. We can see that we've gotten rid of the parentheses in the second equation. 3x minus x plus y equals 0. Notice in the first equation, I multiplied the multiplier by each summand. 2 times x, 2 times y, because there's a multiplication sign between the number 2 and the parenthesis. And the second one has a minus sign, so I removed the parenthesis and reversed the sign. Now, we have two equations. These equations need to be simplified, because in the first equation we see similar x's. And we can do 2x's minus an x, so that's just an x. And the 2 y's, we'll leave the 2 y's, plus 6 equals 0. In the second equation, we can also bring in similar summons. If possible, perform these steps. 3x minus x is 2x's, plus y equals 0. We have obtained a system of linear equations with two variables. And now we can apply the substitution method. Now, once again, if you're interested, you can use the other method as well. But we're learning how to use the substitution method. Choose an equation. The first equation or the second equation. You can choose a variable from these equations. We can choose the variable x from the first equation. And then in the second equation, we substitute an expression for x. But we can express the variable y from the second equation, and then we substitute the expression into the first equation. Let's choose the variable we're going to express, x or y. The thing is, from the second equation, I can write that y equals minus 2x's. It's a shorter expression, so it's easier to work with. So from the second equation, we express the variable y. Y equals minus 2x's. And then minus 2x's. We're going to put into the first equation the expression that equals minus 2x's. From the second equation, we expressed and substituted into the first equation. So then as a result of that, we get x plus 2 times minus 2x's. Let's write it down. X plus 2 times minus 2x's. Plus 6 equals 0. We have one variable in the first equation. And then we can solve this equation, and it will have a single solution. Let's solve the first equation. X minus 4x is minus 3x. Plus 6 equals 0. And then I can solve the first equation with respect to the variable x. And I get that x equals 2. 6 we move to the right side. Minus 6 divided by minus 3. X equals 2. And then I can Substitute x for x equals 2. The result is y equals minus 2 times 2. And e equals minus 4. Let's write down our pair of numbers, which is the solution. 2 and minus 4. You can solve the system of equations by expressing another variable. We express the variable y through x. But you can express the variable x in the first equation. And you'll still get a pair of numbers when you solve it, where x equals 2 and y equals minus 4. In the next lesson, we will solve the system of equations by addition. That's the end of our lesson for today. Goodbye. See you again.